Jack, thanks so much for joining us and for having us here today.
Thank you.
At Square headquarters. I should mention we're here to talk about Square and not Twitter. So, when it comes to earnings, you beat on every measure, you raised your forecast. Where is most of the growth coming from?
In our core business. I mean, that's what we're most proud of, is like we continue to build a business that scales. We're reaching more of our small businesses, more of our independent contractors, and we're seeing more and more larger sellers as well. And I think one of our, biggest differentiators in the market is we're self-serve. Anyone can come to us and just get started right away, and we're seeing that at every scale, from the small to the very large. So that's really the core. And then Square Capital just continues to be something that we're really proud of. And as I said on the call, we realized recently that we're not really competing with financial institutions and banks and traditional lenders. Our average loan size is $6,000, so we're competing with people going to their friends and family and ask for a loan, and that's a massive market. So we continue to innovate within that space, but it's just like it's got great fundamentals to it, and is something that continues to be attractive to all of our Square sellers.
Now, you're rolling out new product lines, you're trying to diversify revenue and offer this, as you say, all-in-one solution for businesses. Where do you see the most promising sources of new growth in the future?
I still see a lot in the core. We still have a lot of small merchants to reach. We still have a lot of room to grow up market. We recently introduced Square Point of Sale for retail. So we're getting more specialized and really paying attention to what retailers need in particular. This is something, we've always been more of a horizontal service, and we have been able to really specialize and go vertical. And by doing so, we get to open the funnel on who we get to reach. A lot of our competitors on point of sale have only focused on retail, for instance. So we have a lot of power in the fact that we can speak to everyone, but we can also now go vertical because we have built a platform that allows us to move fast.
Let's talk about the decision behind the physical card that you're now offering. Do you want to offer more actual bank services?
For over 8 years, we have taken on a partnership mindset with the banks. We're not out to compete with financial networks or to replace banks. But what we've been really good at is making what they currently offer today accessible to more people. And we started with sellers, and we took, an industry that would only enable 40% of people to get through to start accepting credit cards. We took that number to 99%. And we think there's a lot of room still to do that in seller spaces like Square Capital and loans, but also on the individual side as well. So, when you consider us, I would consider us as a simple, easy way for anyone to be able to start immediately and participate in the economy, whether that be on the seller side or an individual side. And what we're seeing with Square Cash is we are reaching an underserved, and we are reaching an underbanked, and it's a very young audience as well. So that makes us really proud, but it's consistent with what we've always been.
So you're attracting larger sellers. How do you handle the additional competition as you move up market?
It goes back to our core differentiators. I think, self-serve is a big one. So, building software that is intuitive and easy, no matter the scale, is really important. And then I think one of our greatest differentiators is really around being cohesive. We aren't just a point of sale. We are payments, and we are Square Capital, and we are CRM, and we're instant deposit. And it's all built into the same package. So you just download one app, and you have everything you need to scale. So you can literally start as one location and scale to 40 without having to think about anything and without having to talk with anyone either. And that's really powerful. And we've focused our energy on making sure that we're delivering the most critical things first, and then identifying what the next most critical thing is to solve a circumstance in a situation that a merchant finds themselves in. Like, I need money, but I don't need a loan of $100,000. I don't need a loan of $50,000. I just need $6,000. I just need $5,000 just to buy another salon chair and double my business. That's where we come in, and that's what we're serving.
You did report a net income loss. I'm curious how you think about profitability and how that impacts how far out you plan the product roadmap.
Well, I think something I'm really proud of is, we are a company that's moving money. So we've put a lot of controls over everything that we do, and we have a lot of discipline. And getting to profitability means that we've achieved a discipline milestone, and that we get to choose then how we invest or how we drive profits. And getting to that milestone is really important to us, and we continue to show progress against it. It means that we continue to control our own destiny. It means that we continue to show that we understand the system that we're building, and we understand the market, and we understand how to serve our customers, be them sellers or buyers. So, we'll get to that milestone, and we'll continue to invest in building better and better services and better products.
One analyst from Loop Capital recently suggested that PayPal should buy Square, saying that their millennial Venmo customers would perfectly complement your SMBs. What are your thoughts on that?
We have a lot of millennial customers as well, both across Square Cash and Caviar, and also our sellers. I mean, these are sellers who are just getting started, who are young entrepreneurs, who are creating something new. So I don't know if we need help with that. But I think there's a lot of value in the fact that we are a platform that brings institutions together. We bring networks together, and we bring platforms and hardware together as well. So there's a real value in our independence, and that's what we're building against.
Tech shares are soaring. Square shares have been at an all-time high. Do you think tech is overvalued or overweight?
Well, I'm not an economist, so I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, I think we live in a market, and the market's decided to value it at this particular thing, and that'll always have ebb and flows. And it's not something we control. What we control is, do people want to use what we're building? And our job is to make sure that that answer is yes, and they want to use it so much that they can't help but talk about it with people that ask for recommendations about what tool should I use. I'm just starting a business, or I'm trying to get out of this nasty contract. Where should I go? And that's the thing we control, and that's the thing we focus on. So
you must have a keen insight into the health of the U.S. and global consumer. Where do you see people spending and not spending? And what's your confidence in the consumer?
Again, I'm not an economist, so anecdotally, we see people going to our sellers, and we see people purchasing, and those trends continue to be positive. And I think the great thing about Square's business is it's non-discretionary. So everything else can fade away, but you have to be able to make the sale. And making the sale is fundamental. I mean, it comes down to things like food. You have to be able to eat, so that will never slow. So our approach has always been to make sure that we're serving every type of seller, and that we can be flexible. And because our business model is specifically around payments and just making the sale, anytime a seller makes the sale, our business grows. And if our business grows, then we can continue to help more sellers. So I feel really good about what we're seeing in the economy, and also how we will continue to thrive and support that.
There have been a number of reports about sexual harassment in the tech industry. People have lost their jobs. It's renewed concern about the lack of women in tech. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, it's something is in a situation that we absolutely have to provide a lot more attention to. And our focus has really always been on inclusion first, and making sure that we're building an organization, an environment, and a company that people feel like they belong, and people feel like they can contribute to, and they feel a part of. And you can say that, but we also need to make sure that it's not just an environment that people belong, but they can actually help contribute to decision making, and to really make sure that they continue to help. They help own our outcome. So you can't have a diverse workforce And you can't have diversity and diverse perspective unless you build an environment that enables that and empowers that. So, I would urge us and everyone in our industry and broader in every company and organization to think about first, like, how are we retaining people? How are we giving a sense of belonging? And then we can, do a lot more work around enabling people to come in and they'll want to stick around and they'll want to continue to contribute and to build.
The gap between Silicon Valley and President Trump still seems quite large. What role do tech companies play and leaders like you, Jack Dorsey, in closing that gap?
I don't think there's any difference in the role tech companies play or individuals like me play compared to any citizen in this country, which is we need to hold our leadership accountable. They're going to come up with policies and executive orders and ideas, and we need to be able to voice our opinions and state how it moves us forward or how it distracts or moves us backwards. And I think the most important thing is to have an open conversation and to really speak up. And if we can't speak up and if we can't be open and transparent about how we feel about policy shifts, we're going to move backwards as a country and as a world. So that's my role, that's our company's role, that's our industry's role, but it's every citizen in this country's role as well. So I would make sure that we're all enabled and we all feel that we can speak up, and we're going to amplify the message in our own ways, and I'm certainly going to use my role and my experience to inform what I believe is right and what I believe is necessary.
As somebody who runs a company that moves a lot of money around, how concerned are you about not just economic, but political uncertainty right now?
Well, I mean, every entrepreneur and leader has to deal with uncertainty, and we just have to be comfortable with that. And the economic uncertainty that people talk about is not something I necessarily feel on a daily basis to affect my decision making. What I am concerned with is the economic disparity that we're seeing not just in this country but around the world. And our goal as a company, and we'll have a very small part, but it's a part nonetheless, is to continue to provide tools for people to engage in the economy and participate in the economy. And we're going to do our best to do that. So I worry more about that disparity and that gap than I do in uneasiness and just all the other noise. So that's what we're focused on trying to help fix. We're not going to do it alone, but we're going to have a loud voice as we do.
So last question, how does that impact where Square goes next? You've been expanding abroad. Where to next?
Well, we want to go everywhere. We want to be a tool and a service that's accessible to everyone in the world. We have a lot more friction in our industry because we have to work with banking partners and we have to work with regulators, and every local market has its own rules and regulations. So we want to move as fast as possible, but we don't want speed to be the enemy of great and best. And best to us means cohesive, it means thoughtful, it means tailored to the market that we're entering. So we're going to take our time because we want to do it right. We don't need to be first in market. We just need to be the best option out there. And that's what everyone behind me is working on right now.